Jessica Morden.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to be called in this debate to talk about steel, like other honourable members, an industry which is so important at the heart of the community that I have the privilege of representing in Newport East. And in Prime Minister's question time last week, had the opportunity to challenge the Prime Minister on this government's lack of support for the steel industry. Now, I did welcome the recognition of the importance of the sector to the economy and to our communities up and down the country. However, I do worry that they were just another set of warm words, really, from a government that only ever seems to react to crises in the industry when things get desperate, but refuses to implement any kind of long-term plan for steel, a sector which should be at the cornerstone of a forward-looking green industrial strategy. And the AS was set out excellently by my honourable friend, the member for Rotherham earlier, and been well rehearsed in many debates we've had on steel in this place. And you only have to look at the rate of turnover of Bayes ministers to get a sense of just how unfocused this government's been over the last 12 years. Since 2010, we've had 11 responsible ministers, including 6 over the last 3 years alone. And I'm not sure even today exactly who the steel minister is in Bayes, because there are no list of responsibilities on the website and no answer to the PQs we've put down on this. So is there, can we know who the steel minister is in the minister's closing remarks, please? That crude lack of continuity makes it incredibly hard for representatives from the industry, for steel unions, for UK Steel, and as parliamentarians to engage constructively with the government, and perhaps harder still for the government to develop a strategy to ensure a long-term future for an industry which is of such vital strategic importance to our sovereign capability and national security. And I note the Minister is asking who the Steel Minister is by the look of the note that's being written. If we are frustrated as Steel MPs, that's nothing compared to how steel workers feel. Speaking to union reps from Tata Lamwern and Liberty on Friday, there is a real concern for the future and a sense that opportunities could tragically be lost. There are huge challenges for our industry right at the moment. At Tata Lamwern, the average age of the workforce has fallen from 53 to 32 in recent years, and the young members of the workforce, having shone with the benefit of high-quality training, performing in everything they're asked to do, but these young, multi-skilled workers are now worried about their mortgages and their futures, given the anxieties that hang over the whole sector. And some of these worries relate to immediate problems the industry is facing: falling demand in construction and the automotive sector, particularly Lamwern, which produces world-class automotive steel for people like Jaguar Land Rover, who slow down their production. But looking to the longer term, there's also this exasperation with the lack of vision the government's showing and its failure to stump up the investment funding, working with the industry to help companies to decarbonise. Steelworkers feel neglected at a time when their contribution has never been so vital to our economy. We know the world can't decarbonise without steel, whether it's for use in wind turbines, electric vehicles, energy-efficient buildings or other green infrastructure. The steel sector is committed to the transition to net zero, but it needs a policy framework that will support it, not hinder it. And the government must provide a solution to allow the industry to invest in decarbonisation. Energy prices remain a huge issue too, with steelworkers still paying well over the odds compared to our continental counterparts, a point well made by my honourable friend from Rotherham. In Germany, she outlined the costs, the help the German government is giving their industry, and we aren't being as generous. And we also need to see longer-term reforms, such as to bring down electricity prices beyond the difficult winter ahead, akin to those implemented in France and in Germany. Let's not forget, it was the previous Prime Minister, the member for Uxbridge, who made reduced energy costs for the steel sector an important promise during the Brexit campaign, and 6 years on we're still lagging behind. And on that note, the government should also follow the EU in closing the loophole for the sanctions regime against Moscow that still allows indirect imports of Russian steel from third countries, and create a UK Steel Innovation Fund using the 200 million refund from the Fund for Coal and Steel. We need the ministers to set ambitious targets for the use of steel industry content in public procurement, and that point was also made. It's a really important industry that we have only over 76,000 jobs in the UK. And as a steel worker said to me at Lamwern this week, the UK steel industry is less well equipped to weather this global storm than overseas competitors. But he also said, in an insecure and unstable world, how can we not produce steel?